Today, we have another bank in danger, one that we have heard of before, but what's going on, and really, how many more are we going to hear about? Today's the PPI, yesterday's CPI. Most people look at a CPI, but the PPI actually shows that inflation actually went down. Yesterday's CPI also said so, but mostly it's just due to energy coming down. Everything else, commodities are still way higher than before, right? So I said it was like it was good, but it wasn't spectacularly good. So that may be the reason why yesterday the market kind of started good, then kind of ended even, and now today is kind of like bad again. But what's going on is PacWest is tumbling once again. Look at it. It's down 25%, not even 20% after it reports that its deposits fell 9.5% just last week alone. Now, they still have billions upon billions, right? But the more the stock falls, it's like a cascading effect, right? Even though the stock price should have nothing to do with how much assets they hold, but people look at this like today. I'm sure a lot of people are looking at this like, PacWest, they may be in trouble. They're down 25%. I better go withdraw my money, right? This is exactly what happened with First Republic too. So if this continues, if they can't stabilize their stocks, or the price of their stocks, I should say, well, it's going to lead to another closure. I mean, it's just that simple. And they're not the only ones. There are a lot of other regional banks that's kind of the same boat. They're forced. They have to report. They have to give off their numbers, right? It's not like because they're publicly traded. You can't hide this stuff. You can't just say, oh, I'm just not going to share that my deposits are falling. Well, some do, some don't. But yeah, they're looking really bad today. That may lead to another halt, trading halt. I don't know when the circuit breaker kicks in, but usually, there we go. Speaking of double, it just kicked in. Too bad we don't have circuit breakers for Bitcoin or meme coins for that matter. I'm just kidding. We don't want that. But, it's just funny how there are circuit breakers in place to stop when stocks are tanking or the entire market is tanking. That's just kind of funny how it's just one way. Anyways, so more bank weakness. I don't know if this is what's contributing to today's weakness overall, or maybe people are still digesting yesterday's numbers and thinking that recession is still on its way. And we will get into deeper recession and deeper recession and deeper recession. Looking at just the interest payments, okay? Interest payments that the federal government, the U.S. government has to pay now per year. We're getting to $1 trillion. $1 trillion just from interest payments, okay? And that's roughly like $2 billion a day. Imagine if you had to pay $2 billion a day in interest. And that $2 billion will be forever because it seems like the government has no path or no indication that they want to reverse and cut their spending. The spending just keeps on going. And the debt ceiling issue is still ongoing. We're getting closer and closer to June. I don't see any resolution for this debt ceiling thing. And that may be even worse. It'll be the first time in history, in U.S. history, that we were not able to repay our debts, that we default. I mean, that would be catastrophic. And that's coming in like 2 weeks. I'm thinking last minute, probably the very last day, Congress will approve it. But still, that just means this will keep going up. The billions of dollars per day keeps going up in terms of interest because we will print more money. And you know what that means? More inflation. And we all love inflation, right? But you know what? This is why we're in Bitcoin. Bitcoin holders continue to load up. Okay, and Bitcoin is decoupling from NASDAQ. For good and for bad. Some days NASDAQ does go up and Bitcoin doesn't, but there's other days NASDAQ goes down and Bitcoin doesn't either, right? But anyways, long term, we know Bitcoin will decouple from the stock market. Right now, many people ask, well, how come it hasn't decoupled? Well, it's still small. It's still not that mature, and the overall market cap isn't that big. But once Bitcoin gets to a certain size, right, then it just doesn't care. Kind of like gold. You look at it, gold really has become a stable coin, and it's kind of like that because gold is supposed to be a hedge against inflation, store value. It's not supposed to be coupled with the stock market, right? But there's too many traders that treat Bitcoin as a risk-on asset, like a tech stock, and that's why there is this coupling, right? But the bigger it gets, the more decoupling there will be. But right now, we're seeing long-term holders just stocking up regardless of the price, right? You can see that green just keeps. Yeah, big accumulation right now, which is why exchange reserves fall to the lowest level in 5 years. I covered this last night. 2017, exchange reserves keeps going down, right? Eventually, you figure what are the exchanges going to do when there's not that many Bitcoin left for trading? That's just something that people don't think about. People think that, oh, there will be infinite amount of Bitcoin for trading forever. This isn't like the stock market. It isn't like anything else out there where you can have stock splits and infinite amount of paper stock that could be traded. Bitcoin, no, there's only a certain amount. In the future, there'll be so little on exchanges, people are then trading just individual sats and not whole Bitcoins anymore. This is 2 cycles ago, and you can see actually pretty similar. If you lay it on top of each other, it's very, very similar with the descending trend line and then the neckline and then breaking out of that. That's what we have to look forward to. And many still think that by July, it could be sooner, somewhere around there, that we still have that one massive pump, possibly up to $50,000 or $60,000, and then we decline it a little bit, right? A lot of people are thinking that is coming. We had the same scenario back in 2019. Let's see if it's going to happen again. But overall, every metric that we have, every on-chain model that we have, and long-term technical indicators and signals and moving averages all show that Bitcoin is moving in the right direction. This is where it's supposed to go, and it will end up much higher in the future. So continue to DCA, load up while prices are cheap. In the future, they will not be as affordable or as cheap. So just keep that in mind.